And a very pleasant Sunday afternoon to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Dodger Stadium for the final game of the regular season as the Dodgers and the Rockies, which means the National League Western Division title winner and the wild card. And they go together today, putting a ribbon on what has been a most exciting season. And at home plate, for the first time in a long time, we see the managers bring the cards up. Joe Torre for the Dodgers, and, of course, Jim Tracy for Colorado. And, of course, one of the things the Dodgers like to do, and Joe Torre did it in New York, was on the final day of the season, change all the managerial duties, coaches, etc., but he had to get Jim Tracy's permission, and, of course, Jim, gracious as always, said, of course. So Brad Ausmus is the acting manager after 17 years in the major leagues. And I mentioned earlier that when Brad Ausmus first started in the major leagues, I remember people saying he's going to make a great manager. Well, he'll get his toes wet, if nothing else, today. His bench coach will be Mark Loretta. His pitching coach will be Mike Borzella. The bullpen coach will be Jeff Weaver. And his hitting coach, he's decided he wants two hitting coaches, Jim Thome and Juan Castro. So on this final day of the regular season, a lot of good spirits, a lot of thanksgiving for both teams. For the Dodgers, they were expected to do well, and they did. You win 94 games in the big leagues, you've had quite a year. And the Rockies, such a surprising club, trying to win their 93rd as Jim Tracy and Jason Giambi get together for a moment. Here is the lineup for Jim Tracy's club. Eric Young Jr. leads off at second base, and Dexter Fowler in center field. Seth Smith is in left field. Jason Giambi makes a rare start. He's at first base for Todd Helton. Chris Iannetta will be behind the plate again because, among other things, Yorba Torrealba has a tightness in the legs. Brad Hopp is in right field. Ian Stewart will play third base in place of Garrett Atkins. Omar Quintanilla will be the shortstop, replacing Troy Tulowitzki. On the mound, Jason Marquez. On the mound for the Dodgers, looking for the 98th win in his great career, Vicente Padilla, the man from Nicaragua. 1-0 against the Rockies this year, and 2-1 lifetime. For Padilla, at 31 years of age, making his first start since a good 2 weeks. And for Vicente, it could very well be that he's auditioning to be the number 3 pitcher for the playoffs. That remains to be seen. So here is EY, and he takes a strike, and the count 0-1. We mentioned it last night, how the years go flying by, and Don Baylor is the hitting coach of the Rockies. The strike one pitch is taken for another strike. Baylor, of course, was the skipper with the brand new Colorado Rockies back in 1995, and one of his players was Eric Young. And now here's EY Jr., and Baylor is the hitting coach. And Don just shakes his head and talks about the passage of time. When Baylor was the manager of the Rockies, EY Jr. was 11 years old. And Don sitting quietly making his notes in the dugout. The strike 2 pitch is swung on and missed, and down goes EY. So Padilla starts off on a high note. We'll take a look at the Dodgers defensively. The outfield is Pierre Kemp and Ethier. The infield, you have Blake, then Chin Lung Hu, Orlando Hudson, and Doug Minkiewicz. And the battery of A.J. Ellis and Vicente Padilla. So one away in the first inning, and the batter is Dexter Fowler. The long-legged center fielder takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Fowler hitting .263. He has 4 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Tries to time a pitch and fouls it away. The boy from Alpharetta, Georgia, Dexter Fowler. Switch hitter, batting left-handed against Padilla. Vicente ready, and the strike 2 pitch is swung on and fouled away off to the left, out of play. Definitely fall in the air. not just a feeling of baseball, the regular season coming to an end, but it's reflected in the temperature. Here we are on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, 69 degrees. Here at Dodger Stadium, the pitch missing inside, and the count goes to 1-2 to Dexter Fowler. So Fowler followed by Seth Smith, and Padilla looks down to get a sign from A.J. Ellis. Long look, and Fowler, tired of waiting, backs out. Fowler, another one of the young ball players, and when Jim Tracy talks about his club, he makes a sweeping gesture towards the team as Fowler strikes out on a breaking ball in the dirt. And Tracy says they're not going away. And when you look at the club and you see people like Carlos Gonzalez along with Fowler, then you see someone like a great shortstop, Troy Tulowitzki. They have some solid young ball players, and indeed with a marvelous pitching staff, which will be aided and abetted next year by left-handed Jeff Francis, they feel to be even tougher. So here's Seth Smith, left-hand hitter, takes outside, ball one, 1-0 the count. One problem that the Rockies have had, and that is, while Torey Alba was getting a hamstring rub, there were several other players sitting in a crouch, off-speed pitch for a strike, and the count 1-1. Ian Stewart, Dexter Fowler fighting the flu. Josh Fogg, the pitcher, also had it. So the Rockies are not 100% physically, as Smith takes in at the left kneecap, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Ian Stewart will be playing third base today. Can't believe he's 100%. Brad Hopp is right there alongside of him. 2-1 the count. Padilla into the windup, and the 2-1 pitch is foul back. We asked Jim Tracy before the game about hard luck Jorge De La Rosa, a 16-game winner who was very much on his game last night. Had to leave with a tightness in the groin, and he looks good today as he sits chatting with Ubaldo Jimenez. And he looks like he'll be okay to go against Philadelphia. They'll really need him. The 2-2 pitch coming up, and that is taken for strike 3 call. So Padilla takes a page right out of last night's star Clayton Kershaw. Strikes out the side, and at the end of half an inning, no score. A.J. Ellis, after a most successful first inning, he strikes out the side on 14 pitches, which is the exact same thing that Kershaw did last night. Here's the Dodger lineup. Pierre, Hudson, and Kemp, and Andre Ethier hits cleanup, followed by Casey Blake. At first base today, Doug Mankiewicz. At shortstop, Chin Lung Hu. The catcher, A.J. Ellis, and the pitcher, Vicente Padilla. On the mound for Colorado is the veteran right-hander Jason Marquis. Veteran, how about this? For the 10th straight year, he is going to the playoffs, and he never played for the Yankees. He's from Manhasset, New York, lived in Georgia. He is 6'1", 210. And his first pitch to Juan Pierre is in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Juan Pierre hitting .307, 31 runs batted in. Marquis comes back, and the pitch is pulled inside first down the line by the diving Jambi. Goes all the way into the corner, and Pierre is letting out. He is on his way for 3 and makes it easily. Interesting thing, there was a song in World War I remember hearing the recordings not too long ago, and the lyrics of the song began something to the effect, how you going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris? Well, you keep looking at Juan Pierre and you think, how in the world are they going to keep him in the dugout? He makes another opportunity golden as he comes up with his 8th triple of the year. And the batter is Orlando Hudson. Marquis delivers, and it's fouled away, 0-1. What kind of a pitcher is Jason Marquis? Well, the best thing to tell you is not his record. He's 15-12. Tuesday night, he pitched 6 innings, got 18 outs, and 14 of the 18 outs were ground balls. So that's his stock in trade. The strike one pitch, Hudson takes a strike, 0-2. It was a ground ball between Jambi and the bag, and it went down the line for the triple for Juan Pierre. Jason Marquis, 6'1" and 210. 0-2 the count. Jason set at the belt, ready, deals off the plate, 1-2. For Marquis, in his only start at Dodger Stadium this year, he turned in a complete game shutout, allowed just 2 hits, and needed only a total of 86 pitches. 1-2 the count. Marquis looks at Pierre, back to Hudson, jams him, and Orlando fouls it off, and it's still 1-2. Hudson is batting .282. He has 9 home runs, 62 runs batted in. His alter ego, Ronnie Belliard, came off the bench last night and singled in a run, base hit off the glove of Todd Helton. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Marquis out of his stretch. The infield's back. They'll give up the run, and the next one is fouled back. In looking at the past to determine perhaps a little bit about the present, we look at Jason Marquis and we look at Orlando Hudson. He is 1 for 15 against him. That's a little more than a half a buck. So 1-2 to Orlando. Out of his stretch goes Marquis, and his 1-2 pitch is inside. Foul tip, caught by the catcher, and Hudson doesn't think he fouled it, but he's been called out by Brian Gorman. So Hudson was backing off, and he stops, not to argue with Gorman, and is certainly not going to get into any violent argument at this stage of the season. But he is out on strikes. Pitch was up and in. Orlando started, pulled the bat back, and apparently it grazed the wood. And he's out on strikes. So 1 down, and Matt Kemp will be coming up. Matt Kemp, as he checks in, has had a marvelous year. 26 home runs, 101 runs batted in, hitting .298. Of course, he'd love to finish up the year hitting .300, and he's turned around. Fastball at the ribs. 1 ball and no strikes. Jason Marquis is trying to win his 16th. In fact, they are now awarding Kemp first base. So that pitch apparently got his shirt.
Right fielder, number 16.
So quite a beginning. First, the foul tip that the hitter was not aware of, and now Kemp is grazed by the pitch, and he's awarded first base. So a runner at first and third, 1 out. Here's Andre Ethier. When De La Rosa went to the mound last night, he was trying to win his 17th. They've only been 3 pitchers in Rockies history to win 17. Jeff Francis 2 years ago, Pedro Estacio back in 1999, and Kevin Ritz back in 1995. But De La Rosa couldn't do it. And the pitch to Ethier in for a strike. Jorge going out with the tightness high up in the groin. So for Marquis, he's trying for his 16th win. Ethier hitting .273, 31 home runs, 106 runs batted in. Out of his stretch goes Marquis, checks the runners at the corners. Jason deals, and this one's a strike, and they count 0-2. Had the thought last night, because 6 times this year you know that Andre Ethier has had the walk-off hit. Last night he had the walk-off catch. It just seemed right to finish up last night's game with Andre catching the fly ball and head for the dugout. The strike 2 pitch on the way is high. Ball 1, 1-2. It was Garrett Atkins, the pride of UCLA, who hit the fly ball to right field to end the game. Dodgers have announced that for Wednesday's game with the Cardinals, it will be Randy Wolf. And Thursday's game, it will be Clayton Kershaw, the 1-2 pitch way outside. We would have to assume that means Randy Wolf against Chris Carpenter, and then Clayton Kershaw, who was dazzling last night, against Adam Wainwright. But we'll have to wait until it's official. We're still not sure as to when those games will be played. 2-2 the count to Ethier. Here comes Marquis, and he misses away. Ball 3, 3-2. Marquis' numbers during the regular year: 78 walks and 112 strikeouts. 3-2, a throw to first. Matt Kemp diving back to the bag. Kemp with 34 stolen bases. He's been caught 8 times this year. Ethier figures to see a lot of work in the playoffs. And the 3-2 pitch, we'll watch Kemp. He is going. It is off the plate for ball 4. And the Dodgers have the bases loaded with 1 out.
For the Dodgers, third baseman, number 23, Casey
So
Blake.
Casey Blake will be coming out. Casey, remember, had missed 8 games with a tightness in the hamstring and decided to come back against hard-throwing Ubaldo Jimenez. And Jimenez just blew the ball by him and struck him out 4 times. And then his first at-bat last night, he struck out. But Blake swings, doesn't get it 0-1. But Casey, ever the pro, single to right field in the 5th inning last night, and then had the leadoff single in the 7th. That was the drive into left center. Gonzalez, unable to cut it off, drew an error, and Blake eventually scored the first of the 5. Strike 1 pitch is low, 1 ball and 1 strike. They've been getting Blake out on pitches up, and for Casey Blake, he has grounded into 12 double plays. They're set for the double play, and you have basically a sinker ball pitcher out there on the mound in Jason Marquis. So the Dodgers with Pierre at third, Kemp at second, Ethier at first, and 1 out. Marquis out of a set. Right-handed deals low. Nice save there behind the plate by Chris Iannetta. 2-1 the count. Dodgers have won 49 games at home this year, so they'd like to finish it by winning number 50. You have to go back to 1991 when the Dodgers had a really good home club that won 54. 2-1 pitch is a line drive base hit into right field, down in the corner. In comes Pierre, in comes Kemp. Stopping at third is Ethier on a long single by Casey Blake, and the Dodgers lead 2-0. So the Dodgers, they came up with 5 in the 7th inning last night, not waiting today, and immediately put 2 on the board here in the 1st. And the batter will be Minkiewicz, making his first start, and for Casey Blake picking up 2 RBIs to give him 79, held on by Jason Giambi. So Minkiewicz hitting .214, dugout, remember, with that bad shoulder, so he has seen service as a pinch hitter. and he takes low, ball one, 1-0. Minkiewicz, coming off the bench, has 3 hits and 2 runs batted in. Fan Appreciation Day here at Dodger Stadium. A very comfortable day. A lot of clouds, 69 degrees. The 1-0 pitch is hit into right center. That's going to go for a base hit. In comes Ethier. Blake will go to third, and the Dodgers lead 3-0 in the first inning. So Minkiewicz, a single into right center field, and the Dodger hit parade continues as Chin-Lung Hu will be coming up. 3 runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Toss in a hit batter. Ethier now picks up 5s. Chin-Lung Hu appeared briefly in last night's game. He ran for Mark Loretta and scored a run. So the young shortstop takes a strike in the count 0-1. Hu had 1 at bat. He has an RBI. He also struck out. No balls and 1 strike to count. Marquis ready, deals, and the sinker is low and off the plate. So he is not getting the ground balls. He got 1, and it went for a triple. That was the ball hit by Pierre. 1-1. The count to Chin-Lung Hu. The right-hand hitter swings, slices one foul into the stands beyond first base, down the line. 1-2 the count. A.J. Ellis on deck. Chin-Lung Hu at a Tainan City in Taiwan. 5'11", close to 200 pounds. Listed at 197. The 1-2 pitch coming up, and Hu lunges at a pitch down and away and strikes out. So down goes Chin-Lung. 2 strikeouts for Jason Marquis. And the batter now is A.J. Ellis, the young catcher. The Dodgers, at least right now, the luxury of 3 catchers with Russell Martin and the manager today, Brad Ausmus, and A.J. Ellis. Out of his stretch goes Marquis, chasing and looking at the runners. He works his hitter and gets it in there for a strike, and they count 0-1. So Ellis getting a chance to work. You don't mind me reminiscing, thinking about Brad Ausmus being the manager. I actually managed the Dodgers during a game. The pitch is off the plate. Walter Alston was the manager of the Dodgers, and we were playing a game right here at Dodger Stadium. And we used to have a headset in the dugout for interviews, and also when you got in a tough pennant race, guys like to hear scores of other games. 1-1 pitch, and that's a strike. 1-2. Anyway, it was like today, many years ago, about 1965, and the phone rang in the booth, and it was Walter Alston. And he said, "Look, I'm going to wear the headset and you manage." And we were on the phone during the commercial break. I said, "You're kidding." He said, "No, I want you to manage." I said, "All right." He said, "The only thing, you got to be quick." I said, "Well, I'll try." 2-2 the count to A.J. Ellis. Ron Fairley was the runner at first base, and Ron had consumed a bit of champagne the night before during the celebration. Because in those days you won the pennant. It was really a big deal. That's a drive into center for a base hit. So Ellis will pick up a run batted in as he picks up Casey Blake, and the Dodgers lead 4-0. Maybe this isn't a bad time to talk about my managerial experience.
Number 44, Vicente Padilla.
They get the ball now for A.J. Ellis, his first big league hit and run batted in, so it's a big day for him. Anyway, to get back to me, that's a terrible way to put it, but I think you'll understand. Here is Vicente Padilla. So anyway, Fairley got to first base. And now I know that Alston is listening, and so is the crowd. In those days, everybody had transistor radio. And the pitch is ball 1. So I said on the air, you know, I hate to do this to my friend Fairley. And I know he's not feeling well. He's full of champagne. But I want him going. And so here's the 1-0 pitch foul back, and Alston flashed the sign, and the crowd now is into the game, and they see Fairley take the greatest double take you ever saw, looking into the managers and say, are you kidding? The day after we've won the pennant, you're going to run me? And so he started to run. The pitch was fouled off. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Next one's outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. And now again talking to the crowd, and I said, I just hate to do this, but Walter Alston has always taught me, if it's a good play, come right back with it. Well, Alston again flashes to Fairley, I want you to go. Pitch is inside, ball 3. And Fairley now absolutely can't believe it. But like a good soldier, he follows orders. He takes off. The pitch is in the dirt. It gets away from the catcher, and Fairley collapses at second base with a stolen base. The pitch to Padilla, strike 3-2. Now I'm looking to get off the stage. I mean, that's enough. So then I said, Alston, I've got you this far. The rest of the game, you're on your own. And Fairley was at second base. So my one moment as a manager in the big leagues. Runners go, 3-2 pitch swung on and missed. Got the story in just in time. And for the Dodgers, they pick up a big 4. And at the end of an inning, Dodgers 4, Rockies nothing. A rather odd beginning in the sense that Vicente Padilla struck out the side, Young, Fowler, and Smith. And even though he gave up 4, don't you know Jason Marquis struck out 4. So we go to the second inning, 4-0 Dodgers, as Messrs. Hudson and Hu and Padilla all struck out. So now it'll be Jason Giambi, Chris Iannetta, and then eventually Brad Hobb. The Dodgers load up the right side of the infield against Giambi. He had a pinch hit single a few days ago. Doesn't play very often. Takes the strike, and the count 0-1. So Giambi, who has had a marvelous career, and now will be heading to Philadelphia. He checks up on a pitch high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Giambi is certainly well put together. He's 6'3", about 230. He is 38 years old, born in West Covina, lives over in Las Vegas, and Jason takes inside. He went to school at Cal State Long Beach, and he was an Oakland A's second-round pick. He was with the A's from 95 to 01, and with the Yankees from 02 through 08. And he swings, doesn't get it. So, of course, Giambi was right there with Joe Torre during some of those golden years. In fact, talking about Torre, by winning last night, Joe has tied Bobby Cox of the Atlanta Braves 14 straight consecutive years of going into the postseason. John B. on a check swing, no swing, says Doug Eddings, and they count 3-2. John B. in a limited time is hitting .350, 2 home runs, 11 runs batted in, hit as many as 43 home runs for the A's 9 years ago. Fouls a pitch off, still there, 3-2. John B. back up and waiting. He's also had as many as 137 runs batted in. He looks at strike 3 call. Good pitch outside corner. And again, Padilla is doing exactly what Kershaw did. He has now struck out 4 straight. And remember, last night, Kershaw struck out 5 in a row. The Dodger record for consecutive strikeouts at the start of a game was turned in by Andy Messersmith over 35 years ago. Andy struck out 6 Phillies to start a game. And the first pitch to Iannetta off the plate, 1 ball and no strikes. Iannetta last night, if you looked it up, you saw he went 1 for 3. He could easily have gone 3 for 3. Hit the ball hard. Check swing for a strike. Twice he lined out to Juan Pierre in center field and single left. Chris hitting .238. He's experimenting with a new stance. He's much more upright at the plate now. And the 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. 1-2. Iannetta, like so many, turns immediately and asking Brian Gorman, did I swing at a strike? 1-2 for the big boy from Providence, Rhode Island, Chris Iannetta. Padilla turns ready. Vicente comes back just off the plate with a fastball, and he hits 92 on the gun. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Torrealba with the tight hamstring, not playing, so Iannetta goes behind the plate back-to-back games. Chris looks at strike 3 called. How about that? 5 consecutive strikeouts last night, 5 consecutive strikeouts today. So now, as Brad Hopp comes up, we'll see. Last night, Iannetta made the last out after 5 strikeouts. He lined out, and then Hopp came up and struck out. So Hopp now could be number 6. We'll see. Padilla ready. Vicente change curve, and he dropped that vanilla ball in there for a strike. Big bloated marshmallow. 0-1 the count. Padilla now turns. Hopp waits at the plate. The left-hand hitter gets another one and swings and misses. 0-2. So Padilla, after throwing hard, now throws 2 soap bubbles up there to Brad Hopp, and they count no balls and 2 strikes. Dodgers lead 4-0, top of the 2nd inning. Padilla ready, and the strike 2 pitch on the way. Fastball is low. 1-2 the count. So we are a strike away from tying an old Dodger record. 6 strikeouts in a row. Andy Messersmith against the Phillies back in the 1970s. Padilla looks in. Hopp waits. Long look in by Vicente. And now he's ready. 1-2 pitch to Hopp is swung on and fouled away. Can't say exactly the tension is mounting, but it is interesting to get this close to the record. 1973 is a long time ago. Padilla was born in 1977. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Hopp swings, and it's a high drive to center and deep. Back goes Kemp to the track. Wall gone. Home run for Brad Hopp, and that shatters the string of strikeouts, and it gets the Colorado Rockies on the board, and the Dodgers lead 4-1. For Brad Hopp, who is usually a pain in the neck against the Dodgers, his 23rd home run, his 86th run batted in. For Padilla, who has not pitched that much for the Dodgers. 4th home run that he's allowed. So it's 4-1 Dodgers. And the batter now will be Ian Stewart. And the first pitch to Stewart, left-hand hitter, he checks. And the pitch low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes, I think, unless it was one of those little foul balls. So Brad Hopp, home run over the center field wall. Stewart waiting, 1-0. Padilla ready, back he comes, misses down and in, ball 2. 2-0 the count to Ian Stewart. The next one to Ian is low, trickles away to the backstop. 3 balls and no strikes. We mentioned it earlier. The Dodgers have won 94 games this year. They won 94 in their great year of 1988 when they won it all. When they won 95, that's another story. The 3-0 pitch is swung on and hit to right, coming up and having to play it on a bounce is Ethier. So a 3-0 single to right for Ian Stewart, and the batter will be Omar Quintanilla.
Number 6, Omar Quintanilla.
In 1985, the Dodgers won 95 games, only to lose to the St. Louis Cardinals. A memorable moment. Tom Niedenfuer pitching. Jack Clark hitting the big home run. Andy Van Slyke kneeling in the on-deck circle. So here's Padilla, ready and delivers, gets a strike. 0-1 the count to Omar Quintanilla. Quintanilla, from Texas, from El Paso, went to the university. 5'9" and about 190. Hitting just 167. He slices a flare down the left field line. Blake backhands it, going away. Tough play, and Casey was there to make the catch. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 left. And at the end of an inning and a half, 4-1 Dodgers. Gets him on the board with his 23rd home run over the center field wall. For the Dodgers, they sent 9 men to the plate in the first inning. Jason Marquez made 36 pitches, and the inning began with Juan Pierre hitting a triple inside first and down the line. So Pierre hitting .309, 31 runs batted in. And the first pitch, he slaps a bunt wide of third. He charges, and he's out at first. A wonderful play by Ian Stewart. Boy, that was a great bunt. It wasn't just up the line. It was way to the left of the third baseman. Stewart actually went and skidded on his knees on the grass. And you leave your feet against Pierre, it takes a magician to get the out. And while on his right knee, Stewart was able to get enough on the throw to get Juan Pierre, and that is really tough to do. So a wonderful play. Of course, they talk about Ian Stewart and say he is a remarkable athlete, and he certainly showed it there. So 1 out, 0-1 the count to Orlando Hudson. You get the feeling that Garrett Atkins knows he's not going to be with the Rockies next year. And meanwhile, Hudson slaps one to the gap. That'll go to the wall, and Orlando will stop at second base. So Ian Stewart makes a wonderful play on Juan Pierre, and then Orlando Hudson follows with a double. And the batter will be Matt Kemp. You have to remember when Jason Marquis beat the Dodgers here, it was one of the better pitched games we've seen all year. There have been 5 pitchers to throw 2 hitters against the Dodgers over the last few years. He's one of them. Matt Kemp is up there and fouls it away, 0-1. Jake Peavy, who won the Cy Young that year in 08. Jake Peavy threw a 2-hitter. Ben Sheets threw a 2-hitter against the Dodgers in 07. Chris Carpenter, whom the Dodgers will see on Wednesday, pitched a 2-hitter in 2006. And Pedro Martinez pitched a 2-hitter 2005. So there were 3 Cy Young Award winners to pitch 2 hitters of the 5, and one of them was Marquis. Ground ball to short. Quintanilla takes care of it. With the ball hit ahead of him, Hudson had nowhere to go.
Right fielder, number 16.
And the batter now will be Andre Ethier. In that incredible 2-hitter that Marquis pitched against the Dodgers, of the 27 outs, 20 of them came on at-bats of 3 pitches or less. 12 outs came on the first or second pitch. He was strike 1 to 24 of the 29 Dodgers he faced. The pitch off the plate to Ethier, ball 1. Not one of his first pitches was turned into a hit. 17 were taken for strike 1, and for good measure, show you what kind of a game he pitched, there were 17 ground ball outs. Jason Reddy double checking Hudson, comes back to Ethier, and that's a little high. 2-0 the count. So for Marquis, he might be struggling today, allowing 4 runs, 5 hits. But boy, what a gem he pitched against the Dodgers. A memorable game. And when you look at this club, he figures prominently along with De La Rosa and Aaron Cook in the upcoming series with the Phillies. Next pitch is a strike to Ethier, 2-1 the count. Against Philadelphia, the Rockies lost 4 out of 6. 2 out of 3 at home and 2 out of 3 on the road. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Ethier, and that's fouled away. The Dodgers had an even tougher time against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Dodgers lost 2 out of 3 here to St. Louis and 3 out of 4 in the Mound City, as they used to call it. So the Cardinals beat the Dodgers 5 out of 7 this year. However, it doesn't mean a thing, and we've seen that happen in the past. One team demolishes another during the year, and then it doesn't pay off in the World Series or playoff. Long fly ball picked off by Fowler, and that'll end the inning. So a nice play by Dexter in center. They leave Hudson at second, and it's still 4-1 Dodgers. Rockies 4-1, and a little theatrical moment. Jason Repko is now going to go to center field. Matt Kemp will come out, and the crowd not really paying that much attention, but Matt Kemp leaving the field and gets and should get a well-deserved ovation. He put on a tremendous show this year. They were hoping that Kemp would go 2 for 2 and hit 300. However, he was hit by the pitch in the first inning, grounded out, and now the crowd realizes what's going on as Kemp is singularly honored and leaves the field. And of course, they will be looking at a lot of Matt Kemp starting Wednesday. Kemp, by the way, punching the time clock. He appeared in 159 of the 162 games. So Repko in center, and the left-hand hitting Marquis up there fouls it away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Marquis hits a chopper foul outside of third, and the count 1-2. Well, on this final day of the regular season, Hanley Ramirez of the Florida Marlins is going to wind up being the batting champ for the National League. He was hitting .342 when the game began. Marquis swings, doesn't get it. Ellis picks it up and throws down to Minkiewicz for the out. So that's the 6th strikeout for Vicente Padilla. And with 1 out, the batter will be Eric Young Jr. The home run leader, well, unless Ryan Howard does something really remarkable today, the home run champ will be Albert Pujols, and you'll see him Wednesday. Albert has hit 47 home runs, but I thought I saw a stat. He's either hit none or 1 in his last 70 some odd at bats. Breeze is picked up, blowing to right. EY shows bunt, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. The RBI man, he's in Philadelphia, so the Rockies will have to shut him down. Ryan Howard, he began the day with 141 runs batted in. A one-hopper, bad hop, great pick by Hudson to throw him out. You talk about major league reflexes. That thing was all set to kangaroo into right field, and Orlando speared it, and it was hit on the button. So a nice play as Orlando staggers to his knees and then throws out EY. 2 out in the 3rd, and the batter will be Dexter Fowler. So we saw Stewart make a remarkable play on Pierre's bunt, and now Hudson a solid play on Young. Dexter Fowler struck out in the first inning. Lanky left-hand hitter, although he's a switch hitter, takes off the plate, ball 2. Fowler gave you a glimpse of what it's like to watch him in Colorado, going back on the ball hit by Andre Ethier. Kind of a daddy long legs. Reminds me a lot of Gary Maddox, who played for years with the Phillies. And he just went back to the track, to the wall, and took it easy. 3-0 pitch in for a strike to Dexter. 3-1 the count. Couple of other leaders to talk about as Fowler fouls it away. We talked about the batting average, the home runs, and the runs batted in. Pujols is going to lead the league in runs scored and doubles and grand slams, probably. Also total bases. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and that's fouled away. So Albert Pujols, admittedly the best player in the game, most people think. And then if you say, well, who's second? A lot of the scouts say Joe Mauer, the catcher from Minnesota. The 3-2 pitch on the way is swung on, and a great shot down the right field line by the diving Minkiewicz. Into second base goes Fowler, and he keeps on going, and he'll wind up standing with a triple. The Daddy Longlegs triples into the corner, and Seth Smith will be coming up. Minkiewicz, like Giambi, not playing, and so a little late with the reflexes trying to dive and smother the ball. Both Giambi and Mitkevich see triples whiz by. Of course, this is a tough enough game to play when you play every day. So with a runner at third and 2 down, Dodgers lead the Rockies 4-1. Fowler's 10th triple. When Pierre hit his triple, it was his 8th. And Seth Smith, who struck out, takes high, ball 1, 1-0. 4-1 Dodgers. Both teams would like to finish up the year on a win. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way, and Smith holds up on a strike. Seth went to the University of Mississippi. He's from Jackson. He lives in Brandon, Mississippi, and he was a backup quarterback to Eli Manning. Todd Helton was the backup quarterback to Peyton Manning. Seth swings, doesn't get it. 1-2 the count. Seth Smith's first major league run batted in came in not only a postseason game, it was extremely important, a pinch hit double in Game 4 of the LCS back in 2007. 1-2 pitch on the way, and he swings and misses. So Padilla puts him away. 7 strikeouts for Vicente. No runs, a triple, and a man left at third, and it's 4-1 Dodgers. Bottom of the third, Casey Blake, then Doug Minkevich and Chin Lung Hu in that order. Blake singled to right in the first inning to knock in 2 runs. The Casey getting ready. He has 79 RBIs, 18 home runs, hitting .281. I think Joe Torre plans to take out the regulars individually so they can get a salute from the crowd. Blake fouls it away. He did it for Kemp. I assume later on he'll do it with Blake and Ethier and Pierre along with Hudson. But remember, Brad Ausmus is the manager. Ground ball to short. Up with it there easily is Quintanilla to get him. And we have 1 out here in the third inning. You can cruise into the deep blue aboard the first ever Dodger Fantasy Cruise. You can join Steve Garvey and Steve Lyons for a 7-day carnival cruise to the Mexican Riviera. That would be November 15th through the 22nd. To book your cabin, call 323-224-2646 or visit Dodgers.com/cruise. 4-1 Dodgers, 1 out, third inning, and the first pitch to Minkevich, low and inside, ball 1. Doug had a single to center. Minkiewicz picking up an RBI. Left-hand batter holds up on a pitch low. 2-0 the count. Dodgers, of course, have a lot of big decisions to make between now and Wednesday. Who are the players they want to have handy and at the ready for the games against St. Louis? 2-0 pitch is pulled foul outside of first down the line, and the count 2-1. Last year, by the way, the Dodgers drew 3,730,000. So far this year, they've drawn 3,710,000. So they're going to go over the attendance figure today. Fan Appreciation Day, you have to guess there's well over 40. So that would make the Dodger attendance 3,750,000, which of course is a great tribute to the fans in Southern California. Minkiewicz a single to right center as Fowler gets it back in. And we would certainly be remiss if we didn't thank each and every one of the fans who love the game. Whether they love the Dodgers or the visiting team, that's not important. They are here, moms and dads and babies, and hopefully those babies will grow up and see many, many Dodger games throughout a happy lifetime. Dodger Stadium is a very nice place to be. They've really done a great job to maintain it. The pitch to Chin Lung Hu is low, ball one. For those of us who were here when they were moving the dirt, something like 16 million square yards of dirt, there were huge mountains, and the bulldozers would go to the top of the mountain, scoop the dirt, and honestly come down head first, where you thought surely the bulldozer would turn over. The pitch is strike 1-1. And we have gone from that incredible engineering feat to this jewel, and it is a jewel. But it's only as good as the upkeep. And from 1962 right up to today, they have spent a fortune to keep it jewel-like. As Hu, hard ground ball to short, they're going to get one. EY's going to turn it, and that'll be the double play. So 6-4-3, no runs a hit, nobody left. And at the end of 3, it's 4-1 Dodgers. With the AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered.
Good pitch, please. Entering
4-1 in favor of the Dodgers, and now it's Casey Blake's turn to take an individual bow and come off the field, quickly receiving the plaudits of the crowd. Blake DeWitt will now take over for him at third base. And so Casey Blake, who had a great regular season, and the Dodgers hoping that his legs will stay well and they'll use him every day in the postseason. So Casey, a well-deserved rest, and DeWitt will close up for him. So I would think Pierre Ethier and Hudson would also come out individually. The pitch to Giambi, foul back, 0-2. You know, during the course of the game, you don't like to get in the way of the play, but today, before the game, they saluted a lot of the employees who have spent many years as valuable members of the Dodgers. Ushers, ticket takers, you name it. Security. The pitch to Giambi is high, 1-2. We want to take a moment out to salute a good friend, a marvelous man who runs the press box here at Dodger Stadium by the name of James Mims. The 1-2 pitch fouled away. And it's a big day for James. He and his lovely wife Betty are celebrating their 52nd anniversary today. So all of us send along much love and heartiest congratulations to both of them. Betty and James Mims. Giambi fouls it away with a loaded up infield, and the count's 1-2. James, by the way, has been serving the Dodgers so well for 29 years, and he deserves more than a doff of the cap, maybe a roll of the drums and a blare of bugle. 1-2 pitch to Giambi, down he goes. So he strikes out a second time. Wow, Padilla now has struck out 8. So if he's auditioning for the postseason, he's making quite an impression. Well, let's check our Aflac trivia question for the day. Duke Snider has the most postseason home runs as a Dodger, a Brooklyn Dodger really, with 11. Who's second? Second to Snider. That's a strike to Chris Iannetta. 0-1 the count. Iannetta hitting .229. You have to go back to 2002, April, 7 years ago. Padilla was pitching against the Cincinnati Reds, and he struck out 11, and he has 8 already, and we're only in the 4th inning. He was pitching for the Phillies in those days. Just misses. 1-2. That's a strike. So Iannetta strikes out a second time. 9 strikeouts for Padilla. So the one concern, especially now, sure, it's a meaningless game in many ways, but for Jim Tracy, he has to be very unhappy because last night 12 Rockies struck out. Kershaw had 10. Broxton retired the side in order, but George Sherrill had 2. So 12 Rockies bit the dust last night, and 9 already today. And there's that soap bubble in for a strike. 0-1. So 21 Rockies hitters have struck out in 13 innings. That has to be a concern. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Rockies figured to see Cliff Lee, Cole Hamel, and then some. And for Don Baylor, some concern that his hitters are coming up so empty. Remember, they couldn't score last night. They do have 1 run today on the home run by Brad Hopp, who's up there right now. 2 balls and 1 strike. Another change, and that's promptly whacked into right field. Go over to get it is Ethier. So off-speed pitches. That was a curveball at about 80. And Hop straightens it out, and he goes 2 for 2. And the batter, Ian Stewart. So Hop is going to come out for a runner. And it'll be Matt Merton who will take over Hop's spot in right field. So with Merton at first and 2 out, here's Ian Stewart, who made that wonderful play on the bunt by Juan Pierre. And ball 1. Stewart is a local boy, born in Long Beach, lives in Garden Grove, went to school at La Quinta High School, committed to USC, but then turned pro. 1-1 the count. Stewart has a lot of power. He has 25 home runs, but he also strikes out an awful lot. He has struck out 136 times. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1. Last year, Stewart had 10 home runs and struck out 94 times. 2.5 times as many home runs this year. 2-1. Ian, 6'3", facing Vicente Padilla, who has struck out 9. When you talk about strikeouts in the National League, you immediately think of Tim Lincecum of the Giants. He's the leader. That's ball 3. Lincecum had 261 strikeouts. He also had 4 complete games. The hottest pitcher, that would be Chris Carpenter, whom the Dodgers figure to see Wednesday. Carpenter had a streak of 11 straight. You know who had the best earned run average in the National League at home? Clayton Kershaw. 3-2. There goes the runner, and it's popped in the air back a third down the line. Coming over is Hu, and Chin Lung makes the catch. So no runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of 3.5 innings, 4-1 Dodgers.
had to go. You had to go 2 for 2 to get 300. So you know what though? This is what we're gonna do. Take your position. Then before the inning, I'm gonna send Repko out to come get you. All right.
So that was the background. Jason Repko then went to center, and Matt Kemp got the ovation from the crowd that he deserved and walked off the field. And again, to repeat, Brad Ausmus saying to Matt Kemp, Matty, he needed to go 2 for 2 to hit 300. He was 0 for 1, and so they took him out. But more than the numbers, they would have loved to have had Kemp finish at 300, but they really wanted him to receive the audience approval, which he received in great numbers. A.J. Ellis, then Vicente Padilla and Juan Pierre. Matt Merton is now in right field, and he might have a chance coming after that high twisting foul ball, but it's going to wind up in the seats. 1-2 the count. Ellis picked up his first major league hit and a run batted in at the same time in the first inning. One ball and 2 strikes. A.J. is from Cape Girardeau in Missouri. At least that's where he was born. He lives in Lexington, Kentucky. A little roll at a shortstop. The charge by Quintanilla to get him. So 1 away in the 4th inning. Remember the trivia question? It had to do with Hall of Famer Duke Snider, who has the most postseason home runs as a Dodger with 11. And who is number 2 on that great list? Steve Garvey, who had 10 postseason home runs. A strike now to Padilla, who struck out in the first inning. 4-1. Favor of the Dodgers. They send 9 men to the plate in the first inning to score 4. There's a line drive base hit for Padilla. So Vicente, a single to left.
Dodgers left fielder number 9, Juan Pierre.
And Juan Pierre coming up. Padilla, as he stands at first base, has made 74 pitches, though I'm sure they were watching carefully. But boy, has he been impressive. Meanwhile, Pierre tripled and then tried to bunt his way aboard, and only a super play by Ian Stewart prevented him from getting a base hit on the bunt. Strike. 0-1. Dodgers trying to win their 95th game. You have to go back to 1985 for a Dodger team that won 95. 0-2. Pierre, the winner of the Roy Campanella Award, and that in itself is a great tribute as he hits one foul down the line back into the crowd. Roy was an exceptional human being, and if you can win the award in his name and in his honor, you have truly been honored by your teammates who voted. Oh, Campy, he was from a section in Philadelphia called Nice Town. And he certainly was a nice man. But a lot more than that, he was inspirational. 0-2 to Pierre. Waiting on deck, Orlando Hudson. And ground ball to the hole by the diving Young. Stopping at second is Padilla, and the Dodgers have runners at first and second, and Juan Pierre's 2 for 3.
Dodgers second baseman number 13, Orlando Hudson.
And Orlando Hudson coming up with Jason Repko out on deck. Remember, Repko took over for Matt Kemp. So Pierre and Padilla out on the line. Orlando struck out in the first inning. He checked his swing, and the plate umpire, Brian Gorman, felt that the ball hit the bat and it was a foul tip, caught, by Iannetta. 0-1 to Orlando, hitting .283. Well, the O-Dog is getting ready, and the Dodgers, of course, are very fortunate. They have a couple of fine backup infielders in Juan Castro and Ron Belliard, along with Mark Loretta, and all of them certainly would appear to be eligible for round one. Brad Osmus is the manager today. I think we'll call him a push button manager. I mean, he got 4 before the chairs were warm as he talks to Don Mattingly. That's a strike. That's Mark Loretta now directly behind Brad Osmus, and Loretta is his bench coach. So there's a lot of baseball years right there. Both of them has had incredible careers. Throw down to second in the dirt, the tag, and they got Padilla. So Pierre holding at first, and Padilla picked off. Heads up play by Chris Iannetta as he fired one down to Quintanilla, and Padilla strayed and paid the price. Maybe thinking about the 9 strikeouts. So 2 out. Pierre at first, so he goes. The pitch outside. Iannetta's throw is into center field. So Pierre gets up and goes to third. So 1 minute, Iannetta makes a great play to hang Padilla out to dry. And then the next time he throws it into center field. So it'll be a stolen base. An error charge to Iannetta, and the Dodgers have Pierre 90 feet away with 2 out. Dodgers trying to add to a 4-1 lead. For Juan Pierre, his 29th stolen base. He is 29. Matt Kemp has 34. 3-2 to Hudson. Foul back. Not very important in this kind of a game, but nevertheless, with a runner at third, force a habit, we always look it up. Jason Marquis has 6 wild pitches. So Juan at the ready. 3-2. Fouled away again. Dodgers 4 runs, 8 hits. The Rockies 1 run on a home run by Brad Hobb and 4 hits. The Rockies are heading for Philadelphia, and the Dodgers will be digging in for St. Louis. 3-2. And Hudson walks, so Repko will have a shot with runners at first and third. Second walk given up by Jason Marquis. Repko has had a grand total of 3 at-bats this year. He has scored a run. He has driven in 1. Jason, his 4th year. In and out of lineups, never much of a chance to play every day. And of course, remember, he had that serious ankle injury. He got his leg caught in the wall going up in the air trying to take away a home run. That's a strike. 0-1. Adam Wainwright and Chris Carpenter, they will be the magnificent duo for St. Louis. Wainwright has won 19 and Carpenter has won 17. Ground ball, nice play by Giambi to smother it and then take it to the bag, and that's the inning. So no runs despite 2 hits, a walk, a stolen base, and an error, and it's still 4-1 Dodgers. It'll be Omar Quintanilla, then Mike McCoy, and Eric Young in that order. Vicente Padilla has made 74 pitches. He's been extremely impressive, striking out 9. And that off-speed pitch missed. 1 ball and no strikes. That thing was 58 miles an hour. Followed by a fastball for a strike, and that was 92. So give you an idea what it's like in the big leagues. A 58-mile-an-hour pitch followed by 92. So a 34-mile-an-hour difference back to back. Breaking ball, line drive, speared by Minkiewicz. Doug Minkiewicz making a wonderful play. Otherwise, that's down the line for extra bases. And we have 1 away, and Mike McCoy coming up. So Minkiewicz making the most of a rare start. He is 2 for 2 with the bat, and he is 1 for 1 with the glove. Didn't have much of a chance to get the triple by Dexter Fowler. Fastball, strike. The real McCoy. Mike did not play last night. We saw him briefly the night before and he struck out. And he's up there now with a no-ball 2-strike count. McCoy runs well. He had a stolen base after having just been called up. He's on a major league roster. He's 28 years old, and he's on a major league roster for the first time in his career. A chopper up the middle. Hudson gets rid of it in a hurry to take care of Mike. So 2 down, 2 nice plays. The line drive caught by Minkiewicz, and now McCoy thrown out on a good play by Orlando Hudson. So 2 out. Here is Eric Young. E.Y. Jr. struck out, grounded out.
4 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs that were earned, 2 walks.
Jason Marquis getting ready for the playoffs. Did very well after the first inning. He gave up all 4 runs in the first inning. Young fouls a bunt attempt. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Marquis went 4, gave up 4. 8 hits.
Attention media, Major League Baseball has released the partial schedule for the postseason.
1-1.
Wednesday's
Now
game
back 1-2 the count.
Stadium will begin at 6:37 p.m. Pacific time. Wednesday's game against the Cardinals, 6:37 p.m. Pacific time. Colorado Rockies will begin at Philadelphia, 2:37 Eastern. 2:37 Eastern. Thursday's game is contingent upon the Yankees' selection.
Still 1-2.
The Yankees select the 8th
A.J. Ellis handling the work behind the plate.
beginning on Wednesday.
2 out, 5th inning. Dodgers lead 4-1. Trying to win and finish up the year with 95 victories and send Joe Torre and his team into the postseason. For the Dodgers,
The Yankees picked a 7-day
winning back-to-back National League Western crowns for the first time since 1977 and 1978. You know, the Cardinals and the Dodgers have one of the all-time great rivalries. And not just because they played each other for so many years. I mean, it is an all-time rivalry. And what makes it so great is it's just about dead even. After all the years, the Dodgers have beaten the Cardinals 995 times, and the Cardinals have beaten the Dodgers 994 with 16 ties. Well, that'll do it as Young strikes out a second time. 10 strikeouts for Vicente Padilla. So if he's bidding to start against the Cardinals, he sure has been impressive. 4-1 Dodgers.
Oh, yeah! Yeah, get the ball. Hey, you'll never forget who was managing the day you got your first hit.
Brad Osmus kidding with the rookie catcher A.J. Ellis, who picked up his first big league hit and run batted in the first inning. And Brad reminds him, you will never forget who your manager was. Remember, Brad Osmus is the acting manager throughout the game today. And what a job to manage Vicente Padilla. All he's done is strike out 10, and the Dodgers lead 4-1. Jason Hamill has picked up now for Jason Marquis. Hamill is 6'6", 220, 27 years old, out of Greenville, South Carolina. 0-2 to Ethier. Moved to the state of Washington, and he went to Treasure Valley Junior College in Oregon. One of those kids, he couldn't make his high school varsity team until his senior year, and then spent 2 full years in low Class A. So he's a classic late developer, but he comes in now to strike out Ethier. So 1 away in the 5th inning. Hamill signed originally by the Devil Rays and came up to the big leagues in 06. Up and down with the Durham Bulls, and then went from the Rays to the Rockies. Casey Blake, remember, was replaced by Blake DeWitt. The DeWitt up there at the Casey went 1 for 2. It's always a nice touch on the last game of the season when the fellas who have toiled so hard, so long, and so well come out of the game individually, showcasing, kind of in the spotlight as they jog off the field. Ground ball hits the rubber, bounces in the air. Quintanilla double clutches and drops the ball. So I would assume that Blake DeWitt will get a base hit. It looked like he was going to be victimized by the ball hitting the top of the mound. But then after Quintanilla had it, double clutched and then dropped it like a wet piece of soap. And it is a hit for Blake DeWitt. Hit number 1 off Hamill, hit number 9 for the Dodgers. So DeWitt is single and Doug Minkiewicz taking over at first base today. And Doug making the most of it. He is 2 for 2 with a run batted in. And he also made a wonderful catch of a line drive by Quintanilla in the top of the 5th inning. Ball 1. Jason Hamill, no relation to Cole Hamels of the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Rockies will see enough of him. The Dodgers saw more than enough of him last year. Jason, fastball, two-seam sinker, curveball, slider, and change. He's working on his delivery because he has a tendency, they say, to land on his front stiff left leg. Fly ball to left field, it's playable. Seth Smith is there. So Minkiewicz a fly ball, 2 down, and the batter will be Chin-Lung Hu. Vicente Padilla has gone 5. He's made 87 pitches, and he has struck out 10. And the Dodgers plan to use John Garland. And we'll see now they have a little activity in the Dodger bullpen. And it'll be James McDonald who's going to get up and answer the call. Well, McDonald in the pen. Padilla might be finished. A.J. Ellis on deck. By the way, you know, when we first started the game today, we explained we know who the Dodgers are playing. We know where the Dodgers are playing. Oh, we're not sure of the time. Wednesday and Thursday, they'll play the Cardinals here. We all knew that. Well, just a couple of minutes ago, they announced that Wednesday's game, first pitch, will be 6:37 p.m. Pacific time. That's fine. Thursday, however, is up in the air. 2-0 pitch on the way, and that's going to be hit into right field by the diving Young. So Chin-Lung Hu gets a base hit. He goes 1 for 3. Dodgers at first and second, and A.J. Ellis coming up. Anyway, the big question is what time will Thursday's game be? We understand it could be one of 2 times, and it will be determined by television and by the Yankees in the #1 television market in the United States. But we won't know until maybe Tuesday. They say there are 2 times for Thursday's game. It could be around 3 o'clock, 3:07 or thereabouts, or Thursday's game could be 6:37 p.m. here. Well, if it's 6:37 p.m. here, 2-hour time difference between Los Angeles and St. Louis, that would be a very late night arrival, early morning arrival to St. Louis. Admittedly, Friday would be an open date, but it would certainly be a day to work out. So we still, what's that old expression? You want to put somebody down, you say he doesn't even know what time it is. Well, we don't know what time it is for Thursday. 1-2 to A.J. Jason Hamill, a couple of years ago, he fell while running in the outfield on a warning track, pre-game warm-ups, and broke his right wrist. And then 4 years ago, he broke his arm playing basketball. Chopper to short, they go quickly to Young, and they get the force play on Hu, and that's it. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left, and at the end of 5, 4-1 Dodgers. Congratulations to the owner of the Dodgers, Frank McCourt. You are nice and dry. You were drowned last night.
Oh, yeah, I finally got a dry shirt on, Vin. But I just wanted to stop by and say thank you to you. It's been a great season, and now we get to go play the real season, so to
That's
speak.
quite an accomplishment. Back-to-back division titles. It hasn't happened in 31 years, and you've done it in your administration.
Well, it's the credit to everybody in the organization. They work so hard to achieve the success we've had, and I'm very, very grateful. And mostly I'm happy for our fans. I mean, they deserve it.
Yes, indeed. And what fans? You're going to go beyond what you drew last year. Today, probably you get another 40. You probably draw about 3,750,000 at least this year.
It's amazing with what's going on in the world around us. For the fans to come out the way they have is tremendous. Very, very grateful. I think we'll be number one in all of baseball this year, and that's testimony to these great fans. And that's why I say I'm so happy for them that we're in the postseason yet again.
Obvious, the ball club's in great hands.
Well, because you're here, there's no question about it.
Thanks so very, very much.
Thanks, Vin.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Let's get back to the ball game now, because as we wind down, it is at that interesting stage of the game where individual players will be coming out, getting salutes from the crowd, and Orlando Hudson just came out and got himself an ovation, well deserved for the O-Dog. So Orlando Hudson, who is an inspirational type player, and one of his trademarks is a big grin, and it's always fun. I remember watching him with Arizona thinking, gosh, to watch him every day has to be a treat. And then we are fortunate to have been able to do just that. And one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet as well has taken over his position at second base. That would be the lad from Los Mochis, Juan Castro. Meanwhile, Dexter Fowler strikes out as James McDonald puts him away. Yeah, if you were Don Baylor or if you were Jim Tracy, you'd start to say, what in the world is going on with our hitters? 11 have struck out today, 12 struck out last night. I mean, 23 strikeouts 2 games before you go into the playoffs. Wow. Then again, and we mentioned it a couple of times, back in 2000, when Joe Torre was managing the Yankees played awful. I mean, you think the Dodgers staggered all over the place going to Washington, Pittsburgh, and San Diego? Well, how about the Yankees of 2000? They were heading for the playoffs, and they lost 15 of 18 before going to the playoffs. Turned right around, wound up winning the World Series. So the way they play after they've clinched, no indication of how they're going to play in the playoffs. Up and in to Seth Smith, 3-1 the count. So for Vicente Padilla, 5 wonderful innings, allows 1 run, 4 hits, and strikes out 10. And then McDonald picks up 1. And as far as the Rockies are concerned, you talk about lightning hitting the same spot twice. Last night, Clayton Kershaw struck out the first 5. And today, Jim Tracy saw Vicente Padilla strike out the first 5. 3-2 the count to Seth Smith. One out, 6th inning. Dodgers lead 4-1. Oh, there they go again. Seth Smith strikes out. James McDonald has struck out 2. 12 Rockies have bitten the dust. 24 Rockies have struck out in 14 2/3 innings. That is not a good way to go to Philadelphia. What was a great line about W.C. Fields? They were asking W.C. Fields, what would you want on your tombstone as your epitaph? And W.C. thought, and he said, I would like on my tombstone, all things considered, I'd just as soon be in Philadelphia. And that was a pretty famous line. So for the Rockies, all things being considered, they'll be in Philadelphia. course, the other great line I remember about W.C. Fields, he was dying. And Gene Fowler, the author, went by Fields' home to visit him. They always called him Uncle Claude, not W.C., always Uncle Claude. And when Fowler arrived, W.C. Fields was propped up in bed reading the Bible. And that was a shock. And Fowler said, "Uncle Claude, what are you doing reading the Bible?" And W.C. Fields said, "I'm looking for loopholes." 3-1 to count. 2 down, 6th inning, 4-1 Dodgers. High fly ball, right center. Ethier hesitated a split second, but now it comes over, and that's that. So on this Sunday visit, we played 5.5 innings, and the Dodgers lead 4-1. Titles since 1977-78, and of course a lot of hugging, a lot of jumping around, a lot of champagne squirted, hardly any consumed. They just love to spray it. And it was a typical presentation of a ball club celebrating a hard year's work. They had won 94 games before they were able to win it. That's a bunch of wins. And now they're a day in the sun before the playoffs against the Cardinals. James Loney will come up and pinch hit now. So Loney will bat for McDonald. Loney, as he checks in at the plate, hitting .282, 13 home runs, 90 runs batted in. Fastball, strike. So Vicente Padilla went 5, and McDonald works 1 inning. Guillermo Mota is warming up in the Dodger bullpen. Check swing, they look, swing, says Doug Eddings. Remember, last night, James Loney put down a great bunt. Chris Iannetta picked it up and couldn't throw right away because Todd Helton was directly in the line of fire. Helton hit the dirt, and then Iannetta threw to first, very close. It kind of looked like Loney might have been safe. But James typically didn't argue much. He just kind of looked at Eddings somewhat in belief. Well, Doug just called that strike from the third base foul line. 0-2. Ball 1, 1-2.
Alignment for McDonald. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts.
Well, McDonald works 1 inning, strikes out 2. And soft line drive foul. He just hit it inside out, didn't hit it hard. Still 1-2 to James. Kind of laughing about the way he hit that ball. Juan Pierre waiting on deck. And that's lifted to left center, playable. Smith is there calling. Zoloni, fly ball to left field, 1 out. And the batter will be Juan Pierre.
Number 9, Juan Pierre.
Pierre making the most of limited opportunities. Wouldn't that be the way you would sum up his year? He's hitting .310, 31 runs batted in. He tripled in the first inning, laid down a great bunt, and Ian Stewart made a remarkable play to throw him out. And then last time up, single to right. This time pops it up, angling out is Quintanilla, waving his left fielder away, but Smith didn't see it, and that's the out. So Pierre flies out to shallow left, and the batter now will be Juan Castro. When Castro comes up and they play a little Mexican music to salute the lad from Las Mochis, he gets an extra bit of applause with feeling. Castro hitting .282, finishing for Orlando Hudson. What a comfort it was for the Dodgers to have Castro, because he can play your infield and you don't lose anything defensively. He's not going to hit with Rafael Furcal. He's not going to hit with Casey Blake, and he's not really going to hit with Orlando Hudson. But anytime one of them came out, the Dodgers did not lose a thing defensively, and that's really a bonus. Strike 1-2. Castro, of course, has had a wonderful career, and basically because of his glove. 1-2, and that's a little low. Castro is 37, signed by the Dodgers way back in 1991, and his glove has kept him in the big leagues for so many years, since he first came up in '95. For the Dodgers at the end of 6, they still hold on to a 4-1 lead. The guidance of the temporary manager, Brad Ausmus. Ausmus having a lot of fun, enjoying his role. Terrific guy. Brad, the first time we saw him was in 1993 when he played for the Padres, and it's fun listening to him enjoy his role as the skipper.
See, I've been told not to argue. Hey, I can't argue. I've been told. Where's Loretta? Where'd my bench coach go? Hey, honey, get Broxton up.
What's the name of your shortstop?
Chin Lung Hu.
And congratulations.
Who?
The name of the shortstop?
Who? Who's his name?
Brad Osmus and Brian Gorman doing their interpretation of Abbott and Costello. There you can see the two mental giants at the wheel, at the helm for the Dodgers ship today. Sailano, ship of state. That's the pitching coach, Mike Borzello. The manager is Brad Osmus. The bench coach is Mark Loretta. The bullpen coach is Jeff Weaver. And the hitting coach, well, there are two to fill the role for Brad Osmus, Jim Thome and Juan Castro. And he's playing Castro at second base now as Guillermo Mota works the plate for a strike, 0-1. So it's been Padilla, McDonald, and now Mota. Tough act to follow. Padilla struck out 10, McDonald worked 1 inning, struck out 2. 1-1. I loved it if you were listening carefully. It was about the third inning, and all of a sudden Osmus said, "Get Broxton up." His order was not carried out. So the man from Dartmouth, Brad Osmus, a 40-year-old, has been in the big league since 1993. A remarkable guy physically, and you can imagine how mentally disciplined he is to have such a long career and such a demanding role as a catcher. The product of Dartmouth University, who was originally drafted by the Yankees. And I remember, oh gosh, by the second year in the big leagues, that would be 1994, everybody kept telling me, you see that young catcher? Someday he's going to be a great manager. He is that sharp. Well, here he is, a push-button manager today, just pulling players out, sending players in, and leading comfortably 4-1. 2-2. Ionetta has struck out twice, hitting .228. And that got the bat? No, it got his hand. So Ionetta hit by the pitch and is awarded first base. That breaks a little string. 7 in a row retired, just as long as it didn't break a little bone. So Mota, who throws hard and is inclined to be a bit wild, runs a fastball inside. For Mota, he's hit 7 batters this year. And they want to check that hand. And hopefully Chris is okay. Yep. Happen anytime on any pitch. Fastball just ran in. He's locked. Not much he could do to get out of the way of it. And paid the price. Okay, Ionetta at first. And here is Matt Merton finishing up in right field for Brad Hopp. Strike. Hopp hit a home run and a single. So the chief tormentor of the Dodgers, game in and game out, year in and year out, finishes up his work against the Dodgers with a home run and a single. Never fails. And here's Merton. Matt's out of Fort Lauderdale. lives in Kissimmee, was a first-round pick by the Boston Red Sox. He was going to school at Georgia Tech at the time. Even as a youngster, he showed a lot of early power. He won the Connie Mack World Series Home Run Derby when he was about 15. Of course, it doesn't translate into home runs in the major leagues. But going back 3 years ago, he had 13 home runs for the Cubs. Fouled away off to the right. Matt will be, in fact, he just celebrated his 28th birthday yesterday. Two and two. You have Ionetta at first. Nobody out, 7th inning, 4-1. Favor the Dodgers. They got all 4 in the first inning. And that's on the corner. Merton can't believe it. Grumbling to Brian Gorman. So he joins the strikeout club. 13 Rockies have struck out today. 25 Rockies have struck out in 2 games. The lyrics from Our Love Is Here to Stay about the Rockies crumbling. Well, it's been a bad 2 games for Jim Tracy and company. They still haven't scored until Hopp hit the home run, and they have 1 run in 15 1/3 innings. Not the way you want to get ready to begin the playoffs. Ian Stewart singled to right, popped to short, and made a super play on a bunt by Juan Pierre. 0-2. When you strike out a lot, I think you get the feeling you walk up there and you inherit a no ball 2 strike count. That's what seems to be the problem. Every time you look up with a Rockies hitter, he's up there swinging defensively, just trying to stay alive. Ionetta at first, 1 out. 1-2. So again, we'll repeat Wednesday's game with the Cardinals right here. It will definitely be Randy Wolf on Wednesday, probably, well, either Carpenter or Wainwright. Then game 2, it'll be Kershaw against either of the 2 Redbirds. Now Wednesday's game is 6:37 p.m. We do not know the time of Thursday's game. I think there's a triple header on Thursday. I believe there'll be 3 games televised, and that's one of the problems. 1-2. Well, now there you go. Stewart strikes out. 2 strikeouts so far for Mota, and 14 Rockies have struck out. Don't forget, you can celebrate the year under the lights at Dodger Stadium. You can have a lot of fun, hit, run, throw, eat, drink, and party with former and current Dodgers. That'll be Friday the 13th of November. That's a great day, isn't it? Friday the 13th. Space is limited, so buy today at Dodgers.com/under-the-lights or call 323-224-2646. Strike. 0-1 to Quintanilla. So we thought Doug Eddings would have a sore right arm last night when 12 Rockies struck out. But now Brian Gorman behind the plate has punched out 14. And there you go again. You look, and the count is 0-2 on a Rockies hitter. Omar fouled out and then was robbed of an extra base hit by Doug Minkiewicz. We're in the 7th. Dodgers 4, Rockies 1. fouled away. Light breeze blowing from left to right. It has been a glorious Sunday afternoon. It was 69 degrees when the game started. It might be up a couple, but it's just a beautiful afternoon. And the kids, bless them, are here. Oh, and 2. Well, not laughing, just amazed. As Mota comes in, strikes out the side. 15 Rockies have gone down. Now there'll be the singing of God Bless America, and then take and right-hander Matt Daly will come out of the Colorado bullpen. Also, Paul Phillips will take over behind the plate. So we'll put them straight up and hope that's the way they're going to play. As Phillips takes over for Chris Iannetta. Iannetta had a rough day, not only striking out twice, but then being hit on the back of the hand by Guillermo Mota, and you certainly hope that Ionetta's okay, gets ready for the playoffs. Jason Repko finishing up for Matt Kemp in center. And Kemp had been hit by a pitch, grounded out. And then Repko grounded out in the fourth inning. 0-2 the count. Matt Daly, a New Yorker, born in Queens. Drafted by the Rockies out of Bucknell University. And that got Repko on the hand. Though they're certainly unintentional in this kind of a game. And Repko goes to first. Make sure that his hand is all right. So the Dodgers had Kemp hit, although I don't know if Matt ever felt it or not. I think it hit Kemp's shirt more than anything. But that one got Repko on the side of the left hand as opposed to Ionetta, who looked like he got it flat on the back. But either way, that has to hurt. But Repko appears to be okay. Hope Ionetta is. Here's Ethier. And ball one. Matt Daly's been in 57 games, and he has managed to hit only one batter. So then he nailed Repko. Ethier walked, flied to center, struck out, 0 for 2. And there goes Repko. Phillips' throw, an attempted tag by Quintanilla, and he is unable to hold on to it. The great effort and timeout to make sure he's okay. Wow, Quintanilla reaching in just as Repko arrived. And that's how an infielder can hurt his hand. So Repko, a stolen base. Here's the attempted tag. And then that left hand is spun around as the ball went on back. Backed up nicely by Eric Young. Gets rough down there. So Repko now at second. 2 balls and no strikes to Ethier. Off speed pitch, 2-1. Matt Daly, 27 years old, 6'2", 175. Matt pitched briefly Friday night and was a bit on the shaky side. Gave up a home run to Martin, a walk, and a couple of singles. They had to come and get him. 3-1 the count. Andre hitting .272, 31 home runs, 106 runs batted in. And that's low and inside, ball 4. So Daly, who was shaky Friday night, comes in and hits a batter, walks one, and he's in a mess now. Blake DeWitt will be the batter, and it looks like Jim Tracy's going to make a move. So Jim going to the mound to take the ball from Daly. Joe Beimel, the former Dodger, will be coming out of the bullpen to face Blake DeWitt, and we'll be back. Beimel, Daly, and Joe. Beimel came in the other night, made a great pitch, a big curveball down and away, and Andre Ethier was the hitter, hit it right off the very tip of the bat and flared a base hit to left field. Now Joe will face Blake DeWitt. 2 on, nobody out, 7th inning, and the Dodgers trying to add to a 4-1 lead with Repko at second and Ethier at first. DeWitt finishing up for Casey Blake, and he had a single in the 5th inning up the middle. Tries to bunt, they throw back and got him. So Repko is nailed like Padilla earlier, and for Repko trying to cheat, get a jump on a bunt, but it was taken at the plate for ball 1. And Repko is hung out to dry as Quintanilla is right there to nail him. 2-6. Paul Phillips nailing it down. Quintanilla covering. That's a strike. 1-1. So it's a tough, brief appearance for Repko, isn't it? Comes up, gets hit by a pitch, and then gets embarrassed. Picked off second base. 1-1. Pennsylvania Joe Beimel out of St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. Went to Duquesne University. Jim Tracy's middle son attends Duquesne right now. And that's a fly ball to right field. Going back is Merton and makes the catch. So 1 minute, 2 on, and nobody out. And the next minute, 1 on and 2 out. And Doug Mankiewicz coming up. Mankiewicz is 2 for 3. Dodgers still have a couple of regulars out there, Pierre and Ethier. They've been taking the regular players who started, not many, Hudson, Blake, and Kemp. They've all come out. So we're expecting in the closing of Pierre and Ethier, but we'll see. One ball and no strikes. Fastball in there. Joe, 32 years old, 6'3", 215. He was with the Dodgers 06, 07, and 08. Ground ball into right field, off the glove of Young, who made a great effort to go way out into the outfield. So Mankiewicz comes up with his 3rd hit.
Shortstop number 60, Chin-Lung Hu.
Dodgers back in the 4th inning had 2 singles, a stolen base, a walk, and a Rockies error, and failed to score. Now here in the 7th inning, they've had a hit batter, a walk, a stolen base, and a single, and have failed to score. So we will see about perhaps another pitching change, and that'll do it for Beimel as he gives up the hit. And Chin-Lung Hu will be coming up, and we'll be back. Rockies pitcher, Jhoulys Chacin. That first name is Jhoulys, and is pronounced Jhoulys. His last name Chacin, Chacin. He's from Maracaibo in Venezuela. He is only 21. He is 6'2", 180. He was impressive in spring training last year, then went out in the minor leagues and won 18. Ball one. Basically, fastball with a sinker, and he has a curve, cutter, and a changeup. 6'2", 180. 1 ball and no strikes. And that's hit foul right by Mariano Duncan. 1 ball and 1 strike. Boy, this is a memorable day in the Dodger history book. October the 4th. Admittedly, you have to go way back to 1955, but what a day it was. Left-hander Johnny Padres on the mound in the shadows at Yankee Stadium. Padres beating the Yankees 2-0. Sandy Amorós making an incredible catch in the left field corner. And there's a drive to right center, and that's going to go to the wall. So the Dodgers finally get on the board in the inning as Ethier scores. Then Cavus stops at third on the long double by Chen Lung Hu. And the Dodgers lead 5-1. So 54 years ago, the Brooklyn Dodgers won their only World's Championship. I can still see Amorós making the catch. Yogi Berra hit that towering fly ball down the left field line. Amorós then threw to Pee Wee Reese. Gil McDougald had gone to second and tried to get back to first. Pee Wee threw to first and doubled him up, and the Dodgers were on to win the game 2-0. Another kind of interesting note on that game, I remember, in the World Series before, Gil Hodges went something like 0 for 21. And it got so bad, the priests in Brooklyn were asking their congregations to say a prayer for Gil Hodges that he get a base hit. Well, in that final game in 1955, when the Dodgers won it 2-0, both runs were knocked in by Gil Hodges, answering the prayers of the borough of Churches, Brooklyn. Yeah, that was memorable. 2-0. A.J. Ellis 1 for 3 at the plate. Takes a strike. 2-1. Ellis got his first big league hit and a run batted in the first inning. Grounded to short, hit into a forced play since. When you look back over the years in Brooklyn and realize how frustrated that Dodger organization was. They had lost to the Yankees in 1941, 47, 49, 52, and 53. They had lost 5 times. And no matter whether they won the first 2 games or not, didn't make any difference. The Yankees and Casey Stengel prevailed. And then came 55. Meanwhile, Dodgers at second and third, 2 out, leading 5-1. Check swing, and it's going to be strike 3, and that'll do it for Ellis. The Dodgers managed to get 1, and at the end of 7, lead the Rockies 5-1. 5-1. 5 runs, 12 hits. The Rockies only run a home run by Brad Hobb. Dodger pitchers have struck out 15 Rockies as we go to the 8th inning. And a word or two to Jim Tracy, Don Baylor, and the Colorado Brain Trust. With 2 strikes in the count, the Rockies have been totally overmatched. Going to have another nice moment here. Mark Loretta is going to head towards second base. I don't know if he's going to keep going. Juan Castro is going to go to left field. Pierre will move to center. Repko to right, and Andre Ethier will get an ovation as he jogs off the field. So the regulars coming out one at a time. Juan Pierre is still in there. That's a pop fly. Minkiewicz in foul ground. One away. And the batter now will be Eric Young.
Second baseman number 3, Eric Young.
So Juan Castro is in left. Juan Pierre moved to center. Jason Repko is in right. Mark Loretta is at second base. So the only regular still out there, and he'll get an ovation for sure. That'll be Juan Pierre when they take him out. A strike to EY. Struck out, grounded out, struck out again, but he's had a lot of company. Padilla struck out 10. McDonald struck out 2 in 1 inning. Mota struck out the side. And that's a strike. So here we are again, 0-2. So let's get back to that stat. Rockies yesterday with 2 strikes were 0 for 19. The Rockies today with 2 strikes are 2 for 19. So with 2 strikes, they're 2 for 38. That's barely a half a buck. 0.53. The only 2-strike hits that Don Baylor saw, Brad Hopp hit a home run on a 1-2 pitch, and Dexter Fowler tripled on a 3-2 pitch. 2-2 the count. So the Rockies are heading to Philadelphia in an offensive stupor right now. 25 Rockies have bitten the dust. And then add 2 more to make it 27. But at least Young with 2 strikes hits the ball and grounds out. Dexter Fowler as Mark Loretta finishing up at second base for Orlando Hudson, who had given way to Juan Castro. Mark Loretta, the bench coach today for Brad Ausmus. So actually, Brad, a wizard of a manager, has played 2 of his coaches. He plays Loretta, who was his bench coach, and he played Castro, who was one of his 2 hitting coaches, and Castro playing second base and left field. Mark Rosella, the pitching coach, right there with Brad. 1 ball and no strikes. Check swing. Fowler has struck out twice. In between, he tripled. We're in the 8th. 5-1 Dodgers. One and 2. Padilla had 10 strikeouts. McDonald had 2. Mota had 3. Last night, Kershaw had 10 and Sherrill had 2. So 27 strikeouts total in 2 games. 1 and 2. Just off the plate. And ball 3. Three and 2. Fowler hitting .264 and whacks it into center. So a 2-out single for Fowler, and he goes 2 for 4. Brad Hopp was 2 for 2, and that's been the extent basically of the attack.
Outfielder number 7, Seth Smith.
The other hit was Ian Stewart's single back in the second inning. So Seth Smith hitting in the number 3 slot, and you want to talk about a long day for Seth. Boy from Mississippi has struck out all 3 times. All he has to do is talk to Manny Ramirez and Casey Blake for encouragement. Seth 15 home runs. Fouled away. 0-1. You remember Belisario was burned Friday night. Made what looked like a good pitch fastball way up out of the strike zone, and Tulowitzki hammered it into the bleachers in left center. 2-run home run, and the Rockies held on to win 4-3. But it wasn't a bad pitch at all. 0-2. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, for Tulowitzki, he likes that ball up, and they like to work him, as pitchers say, we like to work him up the ladder. You start reasonably high and just keep going higher. 1-1. Dexter Fowler, in a more meaningful game, would be a threat over there. He's stolen 27 bases. 1-1. Breaking ball, slapped to left center. Pierre on his horse, and he can't get it against the wall. So here comes Fowler around third. He will score easily on a long double by Seth Smith. So after striking out 3 times, Smitty drives in Fowler, and that makes it 5-2 in favor of the Dodgers. And now Brad Osmus is going to the mound in his role as acting manager. We heard him say earlier he was told he couldn't argue. He's not going to argue with anybody. He's just going to take the ball from Belisario. They each share somewhat of a sheepish grin. And the Dodgers will go to the bullpen for their 5th pitcher, and it will be left-hander Scott Elbert. So as Elbert And the left-hand hitting Jason Giambi will check in. So Elbert 2-0. And of course he is bidding for a left-handed spot on the roster for round 1. And he inherits Seth Smith at second base. 2 out and Giambi at the plate. And ball 1. A.J. Ellis losing his mask on that. So Belisario went an inning and 2/3. Gave up 2 hits. Hit a batter. And Smith is his responsibility. Giambi with a 1-ball-1-strike count. Struck out twice, flied to right. 0 for 3. Playing first base, allowing Todd Helton to take the day off. 1-1. Ramon Troncoso is throwing down in the bullpen. 1-2. So if Giambi extends the inning, Brad Ausmus could bring Troncoso in to go after the right-hand hitter on deck. We'll see. Ryan Spilborghs is out of the dugout, and he would be the hitter. Two and two. Fouled away. So Elbert with a slider. Giambi fights it off. Jason still there. Scott Elbert out of Joplin, Missouri. Fastball off the plate. So Elbert goes all the way with Giambi. Ryan Spilborghs waiting on deck. Could be the possible tying run. 3-2. And that takes care of that. Giambi strikes out a third time. And another strikeout. So 16 Rockies have struck out today. 28 in the series, and the Dodgers lead 5-2. the Dodgers leading 5-2, and Jim Tomei against former Dodger Matt Herges. 0-1 to count to Big Jim. Tomei hitting 188 as a pinch hitter, 3 for 16 with 3 runs batted in. So for Brad Ausmus, he has used 3 of his coaches in the game today. Brad showing no mercy. Played his bench coach Loretta at second base. He's got 1 hitting coach playing second base and now left field in Juan Castro, and another hitting coach, Jim Tomei, at the plate. 2-1 to count. Matt Herges with the Dodgers, signed with them way back in 1992, and he came up in 99, then left the Dodgers, went briefly Expos, Padres, Giants. He's bounced around quite a bit. 2-2 the count to Jim Tomei.
Here are several new pitching lines. For Chacin, 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. For Belisario, 2/3 of an inning,
2 balls and 2 strikes. Off speed and hit into right field for a base hit. So a 2-ball, 2-strike changeup. And let's put it this way, that's a pitch certainly that Jim Tomei can catch up to, and he promptly singled. Now let's see, Brad Ausmus is putting a helmet on and he is inserting himself as a pinch runner. The Wizard, in his first day as a manager, is now running for his hitting coach, Jim Tomei.
Brad Ausmus.
So Ausmus visiting with Jason Giambi. The playing manager, Brad Ausmus. The batter now, Juan Pierre. Tripled and singled, 2 for 4. And ball 1. Brad was given 4 in the first inning to make his managerial role a little bit easier. 1-1 to count to Juan Pierre. Juan Castro on deck. Scoreboard is wrong. The count is now 1-2 instead of 2-1. The umpire trying to help. Brian Gorman holding his hands up. Change the count. It's 1-2. Obviously, no one watching or listening. 2-2 the count. So Pierre has to make sure. Now they finally change the scoreboard from 3-0 to 2-2. Just missed. Just a little outside. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Juan Pierre in the waning moments of the final game of the regular season. Two balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball up the middle, smothered by EY. They get the force. Wonderful play by Eric Young Jr., refusing to quit and feeding Quintanilla to get the force on Brad Ausmus, who can now go back to managing in the dugout.
Number 14, Juan Castro.
So Juan Castro coming up. And again, the Hispanic fans let out a cheer for Juan. Ausmus getting a handshake from Jim Tomei as his runner. Now Brad can put his thinking cap back on after putting the helmet away. Some heads-up stuff going on as Castro takes ball 1. The paid attendance watching all this and enjoying this last day in the sun, 51,396. So the Dodgers pass last year's attendance. 1-0. Dodgers for the year, 3,761,669. I believe they will lead the major leagues in attendance this year, which is a remarkable tribute to the fans in Southern California and their allegiance, loyalty to the ball club and to baseball itself. When you think of the nation's economy and the unemployment, to draw that many people, 3,761,000, rather remarkable indeed. And the Dodgers express their heartfelt thanks to each and every one who came out to see the club this year. That's going foul, off to the right, out of play. Orlando started, struck out, doubled. Castro finishing up. He struck out. 5-2 Dodgers. They piled up 13 hits. Rockies 2-run, 6 hits. Two and 1. Getting a little bit tougher now. Home plate is in shade, but a lattice work or a spider weaving shadows in sunlight, and it's starting to reach halfway to the mound. And a drive into left center, and deep. Fowler makes the catch. Boy, Daddy Longlegs, he can really do it. Nothing like seeing a graceful center fielder with room to roam. And in Denver, he can go and get him with the best of them. And he really had to go to take an extra base hit away from Juan Castro. Wonderful play by Dexter Fowler. Well, now let's see. Josh Fogg is going to come in and pick up for Matt Herges. Had he not thrown that changeup to Jim Thome, he might have had a 1-2-3 inning. And with Fogg coming in, we'll be back. Marquee, but then it's been Hamill, Daly, Beimel, Chassin, Herges, and now Fogg. Josh Fogg fighting a flu bug. He was an All-American closer at the University of Florida. He's the fella, well, we've told the story a couple of times, but this is the last day of the year for the regular season. He had a bet with Ken Griffey Jr. and Fogg won the bet. And Ken Griffey Jr. paid off with 60 boxes of pennies. One ball and no strikes. By the way, each box, 60 boxes, each one weighed 16 pounds. As Griffey said with a big grin, basically he has 60 bowling balls in his locker, 150,000 pennies. With the runner going, Repko fouls it off. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Pierre, who stole second in the 4th inning, was on his horse, 1-1 to count. Juan has 29 stolen bases, looking for number 30. One and one to Jason Repko. They're keeping an eye on Pierre, and of course, well, they should. Pierre, in the big leagues, stole as many as 65 6 years ago with the Marlins. He had 64 for the Dodgers 2 years ago when he played every day. He had 40 stolen bases for the Dodgers last year. Repko showing no ill effects of having been hit on the hand. There goes Pierre. The pitch is low. The throw is even lower. And so Pierre steals his 30th base. 30 stolen bases for Juan Pierre. Pierre, 2 for 5. Single, triple, 2 stolen bases. And ball 3. Probably as tough a game as Pierre ever experienced in his long and distinguished career, because he is so tough to strike out. But Pierre struck out 3 times in a game against the Rockies. Foul back, 3-2 the count. Dodgers scored 4 in the 1st inning, got 1 more in the 7th. The Rockies had Brad Hoff in a home run in the 2nd inning, and then they had Fowler single and Smith double in the 8th. Dodgers might have had more in the inning except for that wonderful running catch by Dexter Fowler. And down goes Repko, and the Dodgers leave Pierre. And at the end of 8, Dodgers 5, Rockies 2.
center field to meet today's contestants.
So the rookie one-day manager, Brad Osmus, going through the mill, finding out the problems. He has put himself in as a pinch runner. And we're in the ninth inning, 5-2 Dodgers, and we have a lot of people to thank. Steve Simpson and Tom Fuhr, top of the heap at KCAL 9 and Fox Sports Westwood, along with Brad Zager, our producer of all our games. Foul ball, 1-1 to Ryan Spilborg. And to our directors, Doug Freeman, Dustin Denty, Jared Stacy, and Brian Nettles, our associate directors. Russell Kodani for graphics. Mitch Reinhardt and Nicole Shaw for graphics. Scott Beck, production assistant. Brian Hagan up here in the booth with those remarkable stats he keeps digging up. Rob Menchel, director, television cameraman, lighting director, all in one here in the booth with us, along with my sidekick, Boyd Robertson. Without Rob and Boyd, I'd be a sinking ship. And to all the good folks, the fine technical men and women that worked so hard all season long to bring you all the games. I think the one thing you can say, we have certainly tried, and tried hard. Spilborgs, then Matt Merton. Inside for ball 4. So Spilborgs comes off the bench, draws a walk, and Matt Merton coming out. Just to remind you about the schedule for the NLCS, the Dodgers and the Cardinals, Wednesday and Thursday here. Game 1 Wednesday, we now know, is 6:30 p.m. First pitch is supposed to be 6:37. We don't know about the rest of them. Thursday, they tell us, will be one of two times, either like 3:07 or 6:37 on Thursday. Oh and 1 to Merton. He struck out in the 7th inning. Brad Hobb homered and singled in the starting role. Dodgers trying to wind up beating Colorado 14 of the 18 meetings. 14 of 80. Dodgers won 7 of 9 in the Rockies' home park in Denver. And we wish Colorado good luck. They head to Philadelphia. They had lost 4 out of 6 to the Phils this year. That's going to be a base hit. Little shattered bat, and just like that, 2 on and nobody out on a walk and a single, and Ian Stewart coming up.
Third baseman, number 9, Ian Stewart.
So first and second, nobody out. Ian Stewart single to right, popped up, struck out, 1 for 3. So the Rockies are still alive here in the 9th inning. Indeed, Stewart representing a possible tying run. And a guy with 25 home runs, he definitely could be the potential tying run. Stewart, the local boy from Long Beach and Garden Grove, comes up with Spilborgs at second, Merton at first, nobody out. Right. 51,396 came out, in some ways to say goodbye to the ball club, but there are quite a few here, I'm sure, who will also be here Wednesday and Thursday. 0-1. That's foul, going out of play. 0-2. Well, Troncoso trying to join the club. Padilla struck out 10. McDonald nailed 2. Mota struck out 3. Elbert got 1. Only Belisario failed to get a strikeout. No balls, 2 strikes. Got to be a little tougher to see now as the afternoon progresses. About 10 after 4, thereabouts. Shadows coming across almost to the heart of the mound. 1-2. Off speed, 2-2. It's been Marquis, Hamill, Daly, Beimel, Chassin, Herges, and Farn. 7 pitchers used by Jim Tracy. Padilla, McDonald, Mota, Belisario, Elbert, and Troncoso. 6 pitchers used by Joe Torre, or really in this instance Brad Osmus. Fastball, got him. So Ramon Troncoso joins the club. I struck out a Rocky. 17 Rockies have struck out today. 12 last night. 29 strikeouts in not quite 18 innings. 29. We're forgetting game 1 with Randy Wolf. But the last 2 games, an avalanche of strikeouts from the Rockies. And here's Omar Quintanilla, fouled out, lined out, struck out. Little foul out of play. Quintanilla robbed of an extra base hit by Doug Minkiewicz. Hit a line drive heading down the right field line, and Big Doug reached up and speared it. Omar hitting under 200, under the so-called Mario Mendoza line. Fastball, chopper, off the glove, picked up and tripped up is who. The throw is late, and the bases are loaded. How about that play? High chopper off the glove of Troncoso, who does a great job of backing up, only to be pretty much upended by Matt Merton. And Quintanilla has a base hit to load the bases. There's the bouncer. Here comes who. There comes Merton. And the throw is late. Legitimate play. In a sense, who, the shortstop, was running across into the path of the runner going from first to second. So the Rockies now bases loaded. And the catcher, Paul Phillips, at the plate. Paul Phillips is from Demopolis, Alabama, and lives in Bailey, Mississippi. He went to the University of Alabama. He was a 9th round pick by the Royals in 1998. If you remember an infielder, Andy Phillips, with the Yankees, he played for Joe Torre. He's a first cousin. 1-1. 1-2. So the Rockies were carrying 3 catchers, but Ionetta went out. He had been hit on the back of the hand. We hope he's okay. Yorva Torrealba has a tight hamstring. So it's Phillips up there with 1 out and the bases loaded. And the Dodgers trying to hold on to a 5-2 lead. Little roller down towards who. He has to go to first high, but a toe dance by Minkiewicz. Scoring is Spilborghs. And now with runners at second and third,
Second baseman Eric Young.
Eric Young will be coming up. So Quintanilla is now at second, Merton at third. Spilborghs brought the run in. So second and third, 2 down, and the tying runs in scoring position. EY has struck out twice and grounded out twice. And he hits one to Minkiewicz, and that's it. So Brad Osmus getting handshakes in the dugout. Congratulations, Skipper. You've won your first. The regulars came out with the exception of Juan Pierre. They would have taken him out, but